In your soul, there have been times in your life, I know, when you've had something that you wanted so much. Maybe you wanted something for someone you care about. Maybe you wanted something for yourself, but you became so obsessed with something, achieving and experiencing, whether it was a transformation, in yourself, a change in your business, making a certain amount of money, getting a job, increase at some position. Somewhere in your life, you've gotten obsessed enough to really want to create something that you may not even know how you were going to do it. But you just wanted it, desired it, that you started all of a sudden taking action and you got insights. And before you knew it, what used to be just this impossible dream became a reality. Is it fair to say that at some stage in your life that there are some things today in your life that were once just a dream or a goal, that once seemed difficult or impossible, whether it be the job you have or the relationship you're in and might be taking for granted? Well, then you and I are creators. And very often when we get overwhelmed by so many things that we feel out of control by, we start getting into being managers of our life, managing our pain, managing through the situation. You've got to allow yourself to be able to take advantage of uncertainty. You have to work on change. Change is automatic. Progress is not. Progress comes when you tell yourself the truth and you're able to feel the uncertainty and take action anyway. The thing that stops us all is fear. It's no surprise. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of not looking good. And that fear we could translate into the simple thing of uncertainty. Someone who's incredibly successful, someone who's truly a leader in their life or in their field. The one thing they have in common is they exude this sense of certainty. Great leaders know how to step in the uncertainty and bring the certainty to the situation.
I think that's why Paul said you've got to learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. That once you begin to trust yourself and your ideas and your instincts, life takes on a whole new meaning, because now I want you to do that feeling that you are led. Just feel, I am led. Ladies and gentlemen, don't give your power away. You don't need anybody to approve your dream. It was given to you. If they can't see it, it's because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Hold it, nourish it, cultivate it, work on it. It's yours. It's your baby. Work on it until it comes into fruition. I gave away my power and I said, I'm not going to do that no more.
No limit people are human beings who take what they are and accept it, and don't tell themselves that somehow they're deficient because of anything about themselves. This is a very crucial concept for me and for virtually all of us. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it. Everything else that you have on our planet, that we have on our planet, comes about as a result of thinking. Thought makes it so. All right? Everything that you see that wasn't given to us was created by man as a result of the way that we think, So what gets inside of us as a cell comes about as a result of the way that we choose to think in our lives. Very important principle to understand, because once you get a hold of thinking and that it creates everything that you have in your life, you can change and make it as absolutely perfect as you want it to be, because thought makes it so.
When you make decisions about what to focus on and what things mean and what to do, and you're unconscious, you get pretty terrible results usually. Now, we've all done this. I do it still. We all do. But if you want to change your results, you got to become more conscious in your decision making. So think about it. What you focus on, you will feel. Whether it's true or not. You focus on how people don't care, you're going to feel they don't care. Second decision you make is, what do things mean? So you focus on something someone does and you come up with a meaning, and the meaning is, no one loves me. The meaning is, they're trying to take advantage of me. Depending on what meaning you come up with, and you get to choose the meaning of anything. For some people, they say this situation happened with the economy, and what that means is I'm going broke. Somebody else said the situation happened with the economy. Guess what? That means I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be more creative. It changed everything. Everybody else is going to quit, so we're going to dominate the marketplace. For people to do it. Is this the...
Now you're here right now. You got it and you handled that fear. You kicked it out of there. All right? Remember that play Color Purple? I remember when Albert told the girl she couldn't go with Sure. He said, where you going? You know, this girl been wanting all her life live her dream. But she was afraid. She felt incompetent and he had beaten her down and her self-esteem had eroded. He said, where you going? You can't talk, Sure can talk. You ugly, you dumb, Sure got class, you ain't got nothing. Where you going? You ain't gonna make it, you're gonna fail. She said, look here, I might be ugly, I might be dumb, I might can't talk. She said, but I'm still here. I'm still here. And so as you begin to look at the fears in back of you, you came through those fears and you're still here. See, that's a testament about how powerful you are. And so whatever the volcano is, you have the capacity to take that volcano on, the capacity to jump in it and find your true identity. Here's another thing that keeps a lot of people from taking on the volcanoes and jumping into the challenges that they're confronted with. The fear of making mistakes or not feeling good enough. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Guy said this, and it's true. He said, the person who has never made a mistake hasn't done anything. You're going to make some mistakes if you want to do something out here. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes with the territory. But it's okay. What's important is that you bring your stuff out here. Are you good enough? Prepare yourself. See, there's no substitute for competency. A positive attitude won't get it. Being enthusiastic won't get it. So you got to prepare yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to practice. You've got to work. You've got to do your homework. You've got to do your research. See, a lot of people have a yes, I can attitude, but a no, I can't aptitude. And competency builds confidence. And confidence feeds into competency. See, the better you become, the more confident you feel. And the more confident you feel, the better you want to become. You realize that you have no ceiling. That you can better whatever you've done so far. You can go beyond that. You don't become cocky and arrogant, feeling that you've already arrived, as most people have. And that's why they've settled for less than what they rightly deserve in life. Because they feel they've arrived and they say, well, I can rest now. I can rest on my laurels now. I've made it.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? So forget about those for now. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up in your field of apprehension that you will also know you should stop doing, and that you could stop doing, because you've strengthened yourself a bit by stopping doing the particular stupid thing that you were doing before. That just puts you together a little bit more. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad. And, you know, that's not a bad start.
First, you'll have to start paying attention to your actions. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing going to lead me to where I want to be in life? You find yourself constantly bored, daydreaming about the future or past, or counting down the minutes until the day ends. It's probably because you feel disconnected from what you're doing. Cherish your time. Try to spend your free time doing things that you enjoy doing, rather than wasting time. For example, rather than spending your weekends watching television, spend them partaking in your hobbies or spending time with loved ones and new friends. Measure your productivity by engagement, not achievement. Not everything you do has to be productive in the conventional sense, but activities should be engaging. Keep in mind that it is perfectly fine to spend some time doing nothing and just being lazy each day. This can actually help with your imagination and self-awareness. Strive for a balance between doing things you want to do and allowing yourself to just be.
Being sorry comes and goes, but every day doesn't have to be a sorry story about you.
That you eat and sleep that, and that you do that, so you've got to work on it.
The reason that people adjust the goal, the reason that they move it closer, the reason that they lower the bar and make it easier is because they're afraid.
The difference is not your ability. What we do at any moment in time, in that moment, is based on the state that our mind and body is in at that moment in time.
I'm sorry I'm late today. I'm sorry I broke your heart. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I didn't do this. I'm sorry I didn't do that. When are you gonna come back to the reality and just do what is necessary to carry on? Do better. Do better within yourself. Being better, it's a process in all itself. But sorry just won't cut it. Stop pretending and start doing. Because no one owes you anything. This is a reality check.
Has anybody ever seen something for you that you didn't see it for yourself? I didn't see that for myself. Maybe that's why my favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. Because of what he saw in me, he inspired me. He gave me a vision of myself beyond my circumstances, beyond my mental conditioning, and beyond the job where I was, because I thought I was just a disc jockey. I love that. I'm master of microphone. You drop me in any city, I can master a microphone. I can turn a city upside down with a microphone. But I had more in me than I was expressing, and I did not know it. And because of this encouragement, I became a community activist. Because of this encouragement, I started doing a talk show called Voice of the People. Because of this encouragement, when I got out of radio, I ran for the Ohio legislature, and I was elected.
Stop making sorry your master. Stop making sorry your place of business. Sorry? What you sorry for? Are you sorry that you woke up this morning? Are you sorry that you didn't make the cut? Are you sorry you just didn't have what it took? Stop being sorry and start doing better. Better within you. Better than anyone has ever seen. Better than your mistakes. Better than your failures. Better than those that doubted you. Sorry? You're not sorry. You just need to do better. Better is what you should be seeking, not sorry.
And because of this encouragement, I passed 14 bills my first term. Because of his encouragement, I was elected 3 times and became the chairman of the Human Resource Committee. Because of his encouragement, I became a public speaker. Because of his encouragement, I became an author. Because of his encouragement, I did a show for King World called The Les Brown Show, and they paid me $5 million, $2 million not to speak. Because of his encouragement, I produced specials for PBS, public television. They said, you couldn't do that. You don't have a college education. It's educational television. Because of his encouragement, I did so many things I had absolutely no idea that I could do. I encourage you to live full and to die empty. There's more in you right now than just working on a job where they pay you just enough to keep you from quitting and you work just hard enough to keep from getting fired. And when you make the decision and identify that key area of your life that you need to make a radical change, things will begin to open up for you.
In other words, what people can do is absolutely incredible. What they will do is usually disappointing. And the difference is not their capability, but rather what state are they in right now. If every time they think about public speaking, they associate fear or pain, that's going to change their state. And all of a sudden they're going to feel tight in their body, and their whole emotional state will change, and they're not going to get the most out of themselves. But if whenever they think of public speaking, they think of absolute pleasure, they're going to be in a great state of mind, and they're going to get more out of themselves. I mean, think about it. When you're feeling really frustrated, do you behave the same way as when you're feeling like you're on a roll and things are flowing? Obviously not. You have the same ability, but things act and behave differently coming out of you. You speak differently, you communicate differently, everything changes.
They're afraid of what it says about them. They're afraid that they're not going to be able to accomplish it. They're afraid to tell people what they're up to. They're afraid to even dream big because they don't know if they're going to make it. They don't know if they have inside what it's going to take to persevere. But I'm telling you right now, if as a process step, you simply change it so that when something proves itself to be impossible, you don't ask, how do I change it to something that is possible? Instead, you find another way around. You find a way to believe that there is always a path to making the impossible possible, that you understand that as you grow and get better and become capable of more, that you can overcome things that were impossible yesterday. And that, my friends, is the key to accomplishment.
I'll give you another example. Have you ever forgotten something simple like your own home telephone number or address or how to spell the word the? Ever had one of those enlightening experiences? Now, you know how to spell the word the. How come you couldn't remember? The answer is because you're in what I call a stupid state, right? You were in a state of mind where your brain wasn't able to get a hold of the answers. The answers are there, but you couldn't get there. So I believe one of the most important things, probably the most important thing that you and I can do in our lives to create the power and joy and passion that we really want is to learn to manage our own states of mind. In fact, think of the cost of not managing them. If you don't manage your emotional state, it'll cost you virtually everything you want in your life. Friends, family, success, and just the joy that every one of us wants to experience on a daily basis. Hey, let me ask you a question. Is what happens in your life the thing that determines how you feel at any moment in time? Yes or no? In other words, it doesn't matter whether or not, for example, the economy is doing really strong as to whether or not you feel good.
To understand the only difference between the possible and the impossible is your set of skills, a belief in yourself, a belief that you can get good at anything that you set your mind to. So make that the pillar upon which all of your identity stands, that when times get hard, you go harder.
As Ernest Hemingway noted, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are stronger in the broken places. But my question is, why isn't everyone? To me, it comes down to the strategies that you use. There really isn't anything objectively good or bad. There isn't anything that happens to you that can't be overcome. There isn't anything that could happen to you. Anything.
Most people say no. Some people say, well, you bet. No, does it matter how your relationships are going? Does that determine how you feel? Is how you feel determined by the weather? By how much sun or rain there is? Is it determined by how other people treat you? I'm here to tell you the answer to that is no. I'm not saying that it doesn't complement or support you feeling one way or another. I'm saying how you feel at any moment in time is purely designed and the result of how you are directing your own mind and body at that moment. What I'm saying to you is no matter what is happening in your life, you are in control of your own states. And once you understand that, number one, and number two, you use that ability, you now have control over your life at a whole new level. And you have more fun and joy and passion than you ever dreamed of once you take that responsibility and take that control. Now, for some people, when they say, well, that seems like a heavy responsibility, well, look at the opposite. What's the price of not managing your states?
Some people are born with extraordinary size, strength, speed, and talent, but without determination, that talent never flourishes. Because determination is what turns average men and women into winners.
It should take you years to get out of debt, years to accomplish your dream. In the natural, that's true. But when you come into one of these destiny moments, it's going to happen in a fraction of the time.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen this year. It's gotta happen this year. I can't have another year of chaos. I gotta get the breakthrough this year. I gotta change the culture. I have to change the circumstance. I can't fake the funk another year. I got to see some movement in my life. If I got a witness in the house, show some sign. This is my year to bring about transformative, substance, life-changing change.
If you could look back throughout the years, what you would discover is that mark by mark, you have been maturing. You have been growing. It's just been gradual. It's just been little by little. I know you're not where you want to be yet, but baby, you have come a long way. You're growing gradually. I'm growing gradually. It's little by little. I love the quote by J.R.R. Tolkien. He's the one who wrote The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and he says, little by little, one travels far.
No one is born a world champion, just like no one is born a brain surgeon. The successful do what they must, what they can to be the best, to be number one. For me, it was a 5-mile run at 5 a.m. in the morning. For you, maybe continue to be the leader in payroll and human resource industry. And these may be somewhat of a painful sacrifice, but it is this type of determination that just happens to build tremendous confidence. Confidence in knowing that most likely your competitors are not doing the same sacrifices. Determination gives you that, it gives you that mental edge.
The secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but building the new you. Put all your energy, not fighting the old, but building the new you. So what is it that you have to do in order to do that? Number one, self-awareness. See, at the end of the day, all of us are the same. The only thing that separates us are the choices we make, the habits that we embrace. And I realize you've got to sacrifice who you've been in 2020. You got to sacrifice whoever that person was. You got to let it go. You got to sacrifice that and put all of your time and energy on building the new you. And building the new you, in my particular case, is more discipline. In my particular case, monitoring myself and my progress, staying on top of it, watching, am I doing well? Am I moving in the direction where I want to move? To give up the things that will distract me from doing that, to make the sacrifice of some things that I enjoy doing, but I can't afford to do it because it's soaking up time, and time is life. Time is life.
Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. You must be like life itself. Respond to deserve, not to need. It doesn't say if you need, you will have a harvest. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll have a harvest. It's not what it says. It says if you plant, chances are good you'll have a harvest. If you plant, you will reap. Not if you need, you will reap. So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by planting, by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. You move toward me, I'll move toward you, says the Almighty. When babies are born, they were not designed just to be carried. Babies were not born to be carried all their life. Someday you've got to try your legs. Someday you've got to try your wings. Someday you've got to try. Even if you fall down, you've got to try, because you can't just crawl around all your life. You can't be carried all your life.
These are chaotic times. These are chaotic times. Unpredictable, uncertain times. These are the kinds of times that all of our establishments and institutions are going through metamorphosis, and we're not sure where they're going.
I like to be the man I never was, that I never became. Well, every time I speak, I see this as such a sacred opportunity. And I'm so happy. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming, because when I look back on my life, and this Les Brown that you see was in bondage for so many years, didn't come out till late in my life. I had him under arrest. I was in bondage with fear. I wanted to do what I'm doing. And I thought about things I wanted to accomplish, and I held myself back because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid that I would embarrass myself. I was intimidated by people who had college degrees because I didn't have a college degree. And so I would think about the things I wanted to do, and then I would start thinking about the fact, Les, you can't do that. So that's what I told this guy in me. Les, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les, I hear what you're saying, but come on, be logical, be practical. Oh yes, I know people told you you have a gift of gab and you have a nice personality and you're funny and you make people feel good and you make them laugh, but you become a speaker, speak for corporations, train and teach people and motivate people to do something you've never done. You're not rich, you're not successful, you don't have any books, you don't have the resources, you don't know the people, you don't have the contacts. You can't do that, Les Brown. See, my heart said I can do that. And then I made a critical mistake. I asked how. The mind became operative. The mind came up front and said, Les Brown, I heard what your heart said, but I want to ask you, how will you do that? And so I went from my heart to my mind, and I tried to figure it out.
You're watching and you're so frustrated because you're looking around left and right and you're comparing your today to somebody else's, and you're going, but they're growing and they're flourishing. I don't know if that's really the case. I just wonder if every time you check in on them, all you're seeing is the marks on the pantry door. That you weren't there for the gradual growth. You weren't there for the little by little. And you're comparing your slow to their fast, and it's leaving you in a place that you are discouraged.
It's not knowing what to do. That's not the battle. It's not actually doing it. That's not the battle. It's the moment in between. It's the hesitation. Hesitation is the enemy. And in war, understanding where the enemy is allows you to defeat him. And this is where the enemy of action, the enemy of commitment, the enemy of change, that's where the enemy lies. It lies in the waiting. And all you have to do to win is overcome that moment, the waiting, the hesitation. All you have to do is go, move, take action, get out of bed, get your feet on the ground, step into the gym, put down the donut, pick up the kettlebell. Do not hesitate. Do not wait. Go forward. Go to war. and win. Every single time.
Don't let the darkness fool you. Don't let the liars fool you. Don't let the haters fool you. Don't let the lack of resources fool you. You have already crossed over into a brand new day. If you're sitting beside somebody that's not hungry, move, because you can't have no dead weight around you right now. You're ready to go to the next level. You got to be ready to move. That's what's wrong with you now. You're carrying dead bodies. But I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I didn't know I would get this old and still be hungry. But don't let the gray hair fool you. It's gray, but I'm still hungry. I'm a boomer with millennial tendencies. Yeah, all the hungry people make some noise.
You have the ability to create and design the kind of life that you want. And in this place where we are right now, things have changed dramatically. And so you have to make a dramatic change in yourself in order to accomplish the things that you want. What does that look like? What is it you have to do? In my case, mine and my battle has been with cancer, 4th stage. That looks like intensifying my efforts and monitoring everything that I eat. It has to be organic. But my state of mind, keeping stress to a minimum. I don't play that. Anything that's unhealthy, anybody that's unhealthy for me, I cut off the relationship. I don't ask them, why did you do that? I cut it off. Why? It's my life. See, we got enough to deal with. When you got the coronavirus that has now mutated into another lethal form and easier to spread, that kind of tension and stress by itself is enough. So you're not given the luxury of accommodating toxic, negative people in your life if you want to live. And you have to put your foot down and say, I don't do drama. Don't come up here with that. I don't do drama. And you don't have to defend that. See, there is no duplicate for life. You only get one. And so you want to live it to the fullest. You want to have special moments. You want to have peace of mind. 47% of Americans can't get a good night's sleep. And I've been one of them. Bobby, you have to work at it.
Fear is telling you, don't try. I'll keep you safe. I'll save you from embarrassment. I'll save you from pain. You have to understand that fear is only loyal to who you used to be. But if I'm going to break this thing down for you, let me break it down like this. I'm going to tell you what you're really afraid of. You're scared of who you have to become in order to start living. Who do you have to become in order to get back into the water, in order to try? Who do you have to become in order to go back to school and try? Who do you have to become in order to want again? I'm asking you, what is it going to take for you to explore your potential in a bigger space? All that potential, all that energy in you is being trapped by fear and being restricted to explore a small space. That kind of pressure causes stress, and when you're stressed, your world shrinks. All of your energy repurposes itself to focus on your safety, on your time, and on whatever else looks like a threat in your environment. That sounds like surviving, not living. You're not a rock, so stop acting so hard and so inflexible about life. Stop using your fear to create rules that limit the scope of what life has to offer. It's easier said than done, I know, particularly when you've accepted fear as a lifestyle. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the sort of person who experiences more of what it's like to be a father? Or do you want to experience more of what the world has to offer? Do you want to start living out that dream you've been holding on to for years? Whoever you've decided to be, that's who your fear is fighting. So fight back. Fight back with a new mindset. Fight back with a new set of routines. Fight that with people who are moving the way you're moving, who are moving where you're moving, and who want more of what you want.
Make a conscious effort to look at and recruit people in your life that you know that have been good to you, that you need to deepen that relationship, that they bring out the best in you, they inspire you, they make you feel good about yourself, y'all have fun together. You want to reach out to those people and schedule some time to see each other virtually each week, where you have individual and collective goals that you're working on. When you upgrade your relationships, when you make it a point to consciously get toxic, negative, energy draining people who have a propensity for creating drama out of your life. And I'm sure you've had the experience when somebody created a whole lot of problems for you and something happened, and when it ended, you say, whoa, I had no idea. Do something that the future you will say, thank you for making that decision. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking your life in a new direction. That's what you want your future self to say. This will not be a new year unless you learn something this year that will have a dramatic impact on your life that you did not know last year, that will allow you to take care of yourself, that allow you to control your own personal economy, that allow you to call your own shots, that allow you to have peace of mind.
And you've got this plan, you've got this aim, this target, that you got to stay committed. With tears in your eyes, you got to be committed when your brain is hurting. You got to be committed.
A good father. And sometimes I'm tired. I don't feel I have the strength. I don't feel that I'm good enough. But I realize that doesn't mean just because you don't think you're good enough doesn't mean you can't be good.
To a homemaker, it probably means that she has a well-run household and a wonderful family. To an outside professional, it's most likely the thrill of closing a major contract.
You might have more talent than me. You might be smarter than me. But I will not be outworked, period. It's such a simple, basic concept. Is the guy who is willing to hustle the most is going to be the guy that just gets that loose ball. There's only one thing you cannot purchase. There's only one thing you cannot buy, and that's what real peace do. That's something you're going to have to do. You got to put more energy, and you got to put more effort in your stuff than anybody, so you're getting up at 4.
When you haven't gotten sleep in a few days, you got to be committed. You got to plow through that depression, that heaviness, that weariness, and you got to cling to the joy of the thought of the future that if you finish this course, then there is a reward at the end of this pain. You may feel as though you are not able to breathe now. You may be inundated with responsibility, and it seems as though there is no way out of this. You have to be grateful for the ground that you've gained and guard the ground that you've gained. Celebrate the small wins. If we keep looking at the big picture, if we keep looking at the end game, if that's all we fix our eyes on,
doesn't mean you can't be great. Doesn't mean you can't carry on. Every battle that you fight in your life doesn't mean you're going to always win that battle, because there are going to be many battles that you're going to have to fight. And every battle is not meant for you to win. Sometimes these battles are meant for you to learn. They're meant for you to grow. They're meant for you to understand that you can still keep moving as long as you believe. So yes, I get tired. You will get tired. Yes, you will question your abilities.
Then we'll get off kilter. We'll lose our footing and we'll walk around discouraged, because you're not going to just wake up in one day and fulfill destiny. It's the process that's perfecting us. It's the ins and the outs and the nuances. It's the song and the dance between destiny and the journey and the process and the promise. And we've got to learn how to execute the day. Give us this day. You got to learn how to execute the day, that you conquer the day. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And so we've got to celebrate the small wins, those mental wins, those emotional wins, those relational wins, those financial wins, those spiritual wins. We've got to celebrate.
Yes, you will start thinking to yourself that, hey, I'm not ready for this. The fact of the matter is, when you were born and you were ready. If you made it this far, you were ready for something even greater. But when that weakness starts to show up, when your mind starts to play tricks on you and starts to lie to you and say you're not worthy, you have to understand that you got to take control of your thoughts and your mind and your process and your abilities. Because every test is either meant to be passed or meant to be failed. And you can't be in the business of failing every time you get put in a position where you're being challenged. Can you go on? Absolutely.
You read the book once and you didn't get it. Read it twice. Read it 3 times if a person leaves. At 6, you leave at 8. If a person makes 100 calls a day, you make 200 calls a day. If somebody practices 3 hours, you practice 5 hours. If somebody practices 6 hours, you practice 8 hours. If someone reads 2 books, you read 4 books. Just do a little bit more because there's somebody out there who wants your spot, and so you gotta embody excellence.
Or the pride in accepting a performance bonus, or being named the top producing salesperson. But the one thing you will hear from everyone who is successful is that they are happy with who they are and what they are doing. They are happy, content, satisfied. Success is a pleasure. What have you done today that makes this day successful? Think about it and write it down. If at the end of the day you can jot down the things that have made it a good day, you will soon see patterns forming. This really is a good habit to get into. When you can see a pattern of pleasure, you'll know you're on the road to success.
They want me because I'm anointed to co-sign what they're doing. That's it. They like, E.T. got a relationship with God. If E.T. says it's cool, then it's cool. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'd rather do elementary kids than grown men. Elementary kids, they've been broke, but they ain't broke yet. Grown people broke. It's easier to help somebody who is broken at a young age than a 50-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 30-year-old. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you to do, since you hate being told what to do, you're going to have to fix yourself since you don't like nobody else telling you what to do. There's something that is blocking your next level, and it's you, and you want to keep saying it's somebody else.
There's one thing to be hungry. It's another thing when you're starving for greatness and starving for success. You start train like it's your life, not a game, like it's your life. Like this, the last opportunity, only opportunity, see a guy like me. I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me, probably more talented than you, but you might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. But you ain't gonna beat me over a year. You can outwork me over 2 years. You're gonna work me over 3 years. I might get you eventually. I'm a dripping damn faucet. I just keep coming at you.
So take note of Mr. Franklin's 3 principles of success and ambition. Number 1, big achievements come one small advantage at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Number 2, you have the power to mold your life, to make it whatever you want, to shape it and reshape it. And number 3, success is measured through pleasure. This is the key one. Success is measured through pleasure. You've got to be happy along the way. You've got to learn to give yourself a pat on the back. Good job, you need to tell yourself. I'm proud of me today. You've got to be happy. You've got to learn to enjoy the process. These are really common sense ideas. They're practical. And William James agreed. He's another American great, one of the most notable philosophers and psychologists in our history.
People like E.T., I want to do what you do. No, you don't. I'm my own boss. When I worked at Michigan State, I had to be to work at 9 o'clock. When I work for myself, I get up at 3. When I worked at Michigan State, I get to leave at 5. When you work for yourself, you don't have no time when you get off. You don't get off. You stop when the work is done. I work harder for myself than I did and you talking about you want to work for yourself. No, you don't. You can't show up for another man. I'm just being real. There are those of you who work for yourself, you don't even have a plan. You don't even have like a vacation package for yourself. You just get to get off whenever you want to. What kind of job is that? You can just take off when you want to? That ain't no real job. You ain't got no insurance. You ain't paying yourself. But when you had a job, you could get there for them when they wanted you to get there. Oh, you had to tell them when you was gonna be sick, when you want, but for yourself, you ain't gotta do nothing?
You might think I'm knocked out, I just keep coming. I'm too damn tough to give up. Most people have ass. Half their life, all the time I knew they were gonna get tired, they were gonna flinch. They were gonna get down, they quit. Improving themselves, they start sleeping. And they spend all their damn money. I'm not gonna do that stuff, let's save money. I'm gonna get up early, I'm gonna keep getting wide, I'm gonna stay relentless. It is the process of the grind that shapes you and forms you. It's not the game, and that's why most of y'all get beat in the cave or make mistakes in the game.